trying to think of a good way to describe what's going on. We are in a stage of truth. And what does that mean? You know, did everybody go out of their way? Oh, here's the cat. Did everybody go out of their way and say, oh, I'm going to tell a lie today? Have you ever lied? Have you ever lied once in your life, or have you ever been accused of lying? And what is a lie? That's something that I really, really wanted to do an awful lot of research, because I was dealing with so many lies in my personal experience that I wanted to understand, why do people actually lie? And if you view it from a perspective that there are no lies, there is no such thing as a lie, it's misinformation. And where do you get misinformation? You read a book. Somebody was wrong about a book. You know what you know at the point of what you know. But life has a way of giving you more information to tell you, hey, what I know is a little wrong. One thing that I've seen in my life experience is when I was 16, I knew it all. So anything that came out of my mouth, was it true? I knew it was true. I knew it all. You know, and then when I was 25, I realized, oh, now I know it all. I knew shit when I was 16, but now that I'm 25, I knew it all. So everything that came out of my mouth, was that the truth? Or was that misinformation? Because I was just assuming I knew it all. So then when I was, about 35, that's when it hit me again. I knew it all then. And then I knew shit when I was 25, and then I knew shit when I was 16, but now I really knew it all when I was 35. So did anything that come out of my mouth, was it bullshit? Was it a lie? No, it was misinformation. I thought I knew it all. But then when I was 40, I really knew it all. And you know what I ended up saying after, when I was 40 and I knew it all, is the time where I said, I know shit. And that's when you know it all, is when you decide you know shit. And where is truth? Truth is going to be found when we, all of the planet, get to have our say and find that agreement. When we find the agreement with everybody on the planet, then that's truth. But as long as there's somebody that's disagreeing, you haven't discovered truth yet. Nobody disagrees for no reason. There's always a good cause that causes somebody to say, hey, that's wrong. And that's not necessarily to say the person that's saying that's wrong is actually the one that's right. It means we need to have the conversation. We need to gather as much information as possible to really figure out what truth is. That's why I really don't, as soon as anybody blocks you, there's a site that, or channel that won't be about truth. So we should be allowed to disagree with each other, because nobody knows truth yet. The only process of finding truth is through conversation and trying to see what makes sense, what's right and what's wrong, and play that game out and see how it works. And nobody's doing that right now. Those that know it all, if you go against what they say, they block you, because the intention is to motivate you to read their book, read their misinformation. So it's not like the elites are the only ones that are doing it. We're doing it to ourselves as well. And all it is look at us as little kids, with no parents, because God doesn't show up and tell us what to do. He just sort of says, here, I gave you life, figure it out. And a lot of people are going to say it's a book, and it's like, that book was made by somebody, a human, that thinks they were inspired by God, and just look at this Kolachik girl. she thinks that she's the mother of the universe. That, and then kind of look at how evil and hateful and angry she is. Like, if she can behave in the manner that she's behaving, then what's the difference between how she's doing it and what the elites are doing? I mean, she's playing the exact same game. The language is identical. The information is identical. It's bullshit. Bullshit is bullshit. It just doesn't work. If something is true, then it works and it's in agreement with everybody. Personally, I think if you're stripping and showing your tits and ass and saying you're broke while you have a mansion and, saying that you're the mother of the universe, you may be a little bit wrong there. But I would be really, really offensive to this person if I even pointed that out to her. And this is the stage that we're at, is, in our past, as this human experience, we're going out and experiencing our world. We have no clue what's out there, so we're just going to do whatever, life has us do. And then you find out it's wrong. And that is the aspect of life, is we need to figure out everything that's wrong. How? By doing everything that's wrong. How do you know it's wrong unless you do it? It's like making a mistake. There are no mistakes. Sometimes when you want to accomplish something, you have to make maybe 50 mistakes before you achieve success. So this human condition, we've been just testing everything out, trying to aim for that world peace, aim for that heaven. And, we have to have a lot of failures in order for us to gain information to find out exactly what's right. And now things are starting to speed up. We have the internet. We have cultures. We have, everybody's communicating with each other. We're spreading information like crazy. And everybody's got a different opinion, a different take on things. We all have our own different lies that we've been living our life with that we think is true, or, as soon as it hurts us, we are in our tunnel vision saying, oh, this is what's wrong. I mean, you look at people in the upper middle class that are, very concerned with the stock market, can't really see the connection that the stock market is kind of damaging the planet. But when these types of people say, here's the problem, all they're interested in is getting their stock back. Let's fix the problem so we can still use that problem to profit. And I don't give a shit if they're starving in Africa or starving in a third world country. They're just not connecting the dots. But they're in their tunnel vision that this is my one problem and I want to fix the problem that's affecting me, and I have zero interest on how it affects the world. We're not global thinkers. We only think of self. So this is the stage that we're at. When we're going to talk about a tipping point, kind of look at, if you feel that you're awake, what happened to you? Did some bad shit happen to you? And then all of a sudden you found out, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. I trusted and found out that I shouldn't have trusted. And when you experience something wrong, it's going to get you angry. And it's, your knee-jerk survival instinct, while you're in fight, flight, fear, anger mode, you're going to get all your answers on how to solve that problem wrong. You're going to turn into the evil that you hate, and you're going to put back out into the universe everything that was done to you, and you won't make the connection. So while we get into, what could be a tipping point, while we get into the stage of some bad shit's going to happen, it's not like we can prevent it, because nobody wants to wake up to it. Nobody wants to see the stock market is causing harm. We just want that stock market working again. So while we can't see that bigger picture, and you're not taking any information in from anybody else that might say, hey, little wrong, let's have the conversation, see if I'm right or what's going on, instead of just blocking me, gain the information so that we can have the conversation so we can find out truth. As long as you don't want to do it, then you've got to see that your actions are what's going to create that tipping point. So you can't stop it because I ain't seen anybody listening yet. So it's happening. It's a prediction. You can see the timeline. You can see the consciousness that you don't want to hear it. So if you don't want to hear somebody say, don't touch that stove, it's hot, and you need to touch that stove to feel it's hot, then the pain of you touching that stove is like, okay, like God, he's like, okay, gave you life, do what you want with it. And if you want to touch that stove, then you should be allowed to, because you're in your own process of finding out your own truth. However, anybody that's going to be dealing with the after effects, the best thing to do is calm down as fast as possible. Try and feel as loving as possible and as peaceful as possible. Sort of, try to see that you were the one that created it and start asking questions. Okay, how did I do this to myself? And how did I do this, community-wise? How did we all combine together create this for ourselves? And if you're calm and peaceful, you can find out what's going on. But if you're angry, frustrated, in fear, you're basically at war. You want peace, but you're going to be at war. And you're going to create exactly what you don't want. You want the peace, but no, if you're angry, you're going for the war. And I just this week did a video on the power of a compliment. Ironically, like, this was dealing with me riding the bus. The second day, I had a nightmare bus driver. Like, it was so bad I had to make that complaint. And it's sort of like I said, focus on the good and, don't pay too much attention to the bad. And yet here I am doing exactly what I said is not exactly the best thing. But it's not that. It's that you can't allow negative. You have to communicate that there's something wrong. You have to kind of let people know. You got to put that energy, that information out into, the world, the universe, which is what I'm doing. But it's up to you to sort of listen to it and how you want to respond to it and how you are coming across while you're trying to share the information that you have. For me, when I made this complaint, ironically, some of the girls thought that I was a reason to be concerned about, that I was talking violence. And it's like, no, wait a minute, where did you get that from? I just got off the phone with this guy that's in charge of the bus drivers because he wanted to hear the full story. Really pleasant conversation. I didn't go at this complaint with anger and hate. I don't want this guy necessarily fired, although we should really question behaviors like that if you can't control yourself. I did mention that, hey, your bus drivers are getting beat up. You may want to look at the causes, because if a bus driver did that, I'd be cheering him on. And I guess if I described and said, hey, you know what, if I was in that fear mode, if I was being trapped and some bigger guy was going to protect me and maybe physically come at the bus driver just because he wants to protect the crowd, who would I cheer on? The guy that's trying to keep me captive, or the guy that's trying to save me? And I'm in, fear mode because I'm being trapped. I'm losing control of my emotional state of mind and getting angry. I'm just letting, that office know that, hey, I can understand it. I can see myself doing it if I lost control. And if you put me in a position where I lose control, then you need to expect and anticipate what comes. So I guess I was threatening. And it's like, no, how does that come as a threat? I'm letting you know that there's a domino effect, and you can't be the bus driver that throws the first punch and then, the second punch is the guy that's guilty. No, you got to look at who's throwing the first punch. So anyways, this is the process that we're in. And if there is, big major catastrophe, which there will be, try to remain calm. When you're calm, you get better survival information, and you will get more truth. Be patient with people that are sort of stuck in the chaos and the anger and the misinformation. Just be patient, loving, and accepting that maybe they're just not ready yet. You needed time for you to be ready. I needed time for me to be ready. Everybody needs their own time to be ready. So that's a gift that we give humanity, is that its own time that it takes to wake up. And it is a sad thing that a lot of people need, probably going to die, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, it's not like you weren't told. It's not like the information wasn't out there. You had free will to go and search it out to make a change, but you were tied on your money. Peace out.